My name is Alicia Broughton. I am the Director of Nutrition for the St. Louis ARC. I've been with the ARC about 7 years now. I am also a registered dietitian. I actually started at the ARC at our Childhood Development Center. So I did start with childhood nutrition, but now I work on the adult side. I help to develop a lot of the recipes that we use in the nutrition center from childhood allergies. Now they are more geared to our GERD and stomach issues, but that's what I do here for the ARC.
So today we're going to talk about eating the rainbow. A little bit about me. My name is Alicia Broughton. I am the Director of Nutrition Services here at the St. Louis ARC. I am a registered dietitian. Some of my favorite foods are sweet potatoes, cheese, tacos, and fresh pasta. One of my favorite local restaurants is the Euro Grill. It's located here off Del Mar. One of the things I do to keep myself healthy includes having reminders on my phone about drinking water every 2 hours. And I started a healthy habit of hiking. So I bought some good hiking boots and I joined several social media groups in order to meet my new goals, hiking groups and nutrition groups. Today, we're going to talk about picky eating. Some parents notice a change in the number of foods their child likes and is willing to eat as they age. So be aware that picky eating is often a protective response and not a medical response. Medical responses include allergic sensitivities, celiac disease, or immune system diseases such as EOE. Children can also be afraid that they will not like that new food if the food does not have a consistent taste, like underripened fruit, unlike their preferred processed food. The example I like to give here is think of fruit. Example, blueberries. Sometimes when you get blueberries, they are very sweet. Sometimes they're not so sweet. Sometimes they're soft. Sometimes they're crunchy. But every time you get a chicken nugget, even though some of our children are able to notice the difference between different fast food restaurants, even different brands, they're often very similar in texture, very similar in color. But the blueberries, we are not able to control the texture, and children are often afraid that the inconsistency is going to be present. Sensory overload is something I also want us to be aware of when we're picturing dinner. So picture dinner time at your house. What does it sound like? What does it smell like? How loud is dinner time if you have other children or even pets around? I want you to imagine someone placing a plate in front of you, maybe with the new food on it. How many colors are on that plate? Are there different textures there? Is the food touching? Imagine that somebody then starts offering you a new food when you haven't been able to acclimate to dinner time being started, or things are still moving around, people are still moving around, TV is still on. So think of this when you are sitting down for dinner or any meal time, to be honest, that sensory is very important to eating. And we might need to make time to calm the area down before we set the plates in order to make sure that the mealtime is pleasant. It is often stated that you have to try something 15 to 64 times, including food, before you actually decide if you enjoy it. Textures and color matter in this game of trying new foods. So even if we've tried it 15 times and we decide, actually, I don't like carrots or I don't like peas, that is a real game of trial and error. Also talk about texture here. So trying different cooking methods, even for the same food, can give the food a different experience. At the bottom of this page, I have baking, grilling, sauteing, steaming. Give the food a different texture because some people prefer foods to have more crunch or more soft. Try mashing the foods, mashed peas, or grating foods like grated broccoli that you would have in a salad. Things like that would definitely give you a different sensory than having steamed broccoli, raw broccoli, broccoli slaw. Give you different sensory and definitely let you try it in different forms to try those 15 to 64 times before you make up your mind whether you do not enjoy a food. The example I like to give here is I prefer raw broccoli to cooked broccoli. Before I became a chef, I just enjoyed the texture of the broccoli, mostly because cooked broccoli usually gets overcooked and I did not like the mushy texture. So I often, still to this day, eat raw broccoli for that reason because the mushiness and the softness of the broccoli was just too much for me. Here are some do's and don'ts at mealtime, what not to do. So try not to do these things. Bribing someone at mealtime can lead to placing things to be enemies or prizes. So that can lead to desserts being the prize and vegetables being the enemies. And we don't really want something to be looked at as better than the other thing. And also remember that if something is only giving at lunch or at snack, it can also be seen as, oh, I only get this thing at one time and I can only have it then. But if you mix it up and have snack items at dinner time and dinner time things at lunchtime, then those things can be less scary and less of a scarcity mindset around those different items. The list is force feeding. Obviously, this can cause anxiety and nobody wins when someone is scared to eat in general. It's an unpleasant experience that can lead to lifelong aversion. And lastly on this list, offering too many options. So it may be tempting to cook different meals or different options for a picky eater, but it could cause you, the cook, more stress, and it is often a temporary solution. Try to have one or two options, either cooking styles or sauces as an alternative for the new item. Always having those two options as an alternative could help reduce the stress for you, the cook. To some what to do's. What to do's. Have them be your little helper. So let them wash the fruits and vegetables, get them involved with placing the setting on the table, preparing the sauces, or music to set a relaxing mood for the meal. Having a predictable snack and meal time is also helpful as we get children ready for school, especially for their teachers. And lastly, have a safe food available. So if they do not like their new food, they always have something to fall back on. Some more tips. Try to make the food look appealing. If that means using finger foods, offering the different textures I talked about before, using bowls versus plates. If the person likes ranch or ketchup, use those to try to make it more appealing. Even setting a timer could help make sure that the child knows that this is the allotted time that we're going to eat and there's no surprises when mealtime comes up. The ultimate goal is to make sure that everybody gets a well-balanced, well-rounded plate. My plate is a great visual on how everyone can build their plate to meet their nutrition needs, from fruits, vegetables, grains, proteins, and dairy. Depending on a person's age, activity level, and health status, calorie needs may vary, but this is a great visual of all the components that you need at every mealtime.